Mo, Bender, Bum Bandit, Shirtlifter, Puff, Pufter, Bummer, Homo, Bomboy, Queer, Queero, Batty Boy. Backs to the wall. Don't talk to him, he'll just want to bum you. When I saw the male-male kiss in Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge, I felt physically sick. Growing up as a kid that most people could readily identify as being gay, or at least one who wasn't into the normal boy things like football and cars, was not a pleasant experience in the mid to late 1970s. Being a kid is tough enough. This idea that childhood is some carefree, idyllic time of life is a Hollywood lie. If it was true, and people realised that their best years were behind them once they hit 18, I'm pretty sure the suicide rate would be a lot higher than it is now. Being a gay kid, even one who isn't necessarily recognisable as obviously gay by other people, adds another set of pressures. If you're detected, you suffer from the abuse. If you aren't, then you hear all these awful things being said about gay people, and you come to the conclusion that people are going to think the same thing about you. I can remember one summer afternoon sitting on my bed after being kicked and punched on my way home from school by a group of about 4 lads who didn't like puffs and softies, and being in despair, not comprehending why it was that they hated me so much when I'd done nothing to them. At the time, the irony of it taking 4 of them from the year or 2 above me to be brave enough to tackle the puff didn't occur to me. But that was the start of a turning point for me, when I decided that any physical violence would be met with retaliation, and that I wasn't going to take this shit anymore. And after that, the physical abuse diminished considerably, and the bullies would stick to name-calling. I want to make it clear that this isn't some tale of woe. I'm not seeking sympathy for something that happened well over 30 years ago. In many ways, I think this has helped me to become a stronger, more self-confident person. I've certainly never felt the need to fit in, to succumb to peer pressure, and end up doing something that I didn't want to do, or that I knew wasn't right. It taught me how to pick myself up and to move on. And also, I know that I'm not alone in my experiences. Probably the majority of gay people have endured similar abuse in their time. They've got very similar tales to tell. What I wanted to say here is that it was a horrible time in my life, and that I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I did. For me, it's done, and I was lucky in that I had a supportive family who were quite happy for me to be me. Who may have thought that it was a little odd that my action men would sleep together in the same little bed that I'd made out of a shoebox, but who didn't feel that it was something they needed to correct as undesirable behaviour. My announcement after Christmas Panto one year, when I was probably about 8, that I wanted to be fairy godmother, was greeted with some good-humoured laughter and ribbing, but nothing ridiculing me or indicating that what I'd said was wrong. There were a lot of people out there who weren't as fortunate. There are a lot of people out there today who aren't that fortunate. Some figures suggest that up to 1/3 of teenagers who commit suicide are gay. And when you take into account that most estimates put the proportion of gay people in society as a whole at 10% or lower, that means that a gay teenager is at least 3 times more likely to commit suicide than their heterosexual peers. Things are better today in some respects than when I was a teenager. There are plenty of positive gay role models in the media and in public life. In my teen years, the only gay people you would hear about were either the uber-camp clowns in TV or film who are figures of fun, or lurid tabloid headlines about gay vicars and child molesters. On the other hand, rather alarmingly, the police in the UK have reported a rise in the number of homophobically motivated attacks, almost 20% in the last year. Some people are trying to dismiss this as gay people being more willing to report homophobic attacks, but I'm not convinced, nor, it would seem, are quite a few other people. Polls performed by gay focus groups have indicated that gay people are reporting an increase in verbal abuse, but interestingly enough, they're also confirming that these people don't bother to report the incidents to the police because of the unsympathetic treatment that they expect to receive. And I can relate to that, having reported homophobic abuse myself and being told by the officer not to be hysterical and petty when I wanted to prosecute. Then we have the use of the term gay to describe something that is regarded as being lame or naff and otherwise undesirable, which is prevalent amongst teenagers, as are the phrases like no homo and the overt homophobia and promoting of violence against gay males in particular that can be found in abundance in hip-hop and rap music. Earlier this year, Stonewall ran a campaign to tackle the problem of anti-gay bullying in schools, and another campaign is being run next week from the 16th to the 20th of November, and there's a link up in the sidebar. I've also put a link up on the sidebar to the How You Can Help section. If you want to help, then that's great. It can be as simple as sending a mail or a postcard to your former school. If you don't want to do anything that direct, then just getting the message out there that young people have nothing to fear about being gay, there's nothing that they have to be ashamed about, that's worthwhile in itself. It's not going to change the world overnight, but knowing that you're not alone and that there are people out there who support you is a big help when trying to deal with bullies and the consequences of bullying. And you never know, it might even help some of the homophobic cattle think twice if they know that there are people around who strongly disapprove of their behaviour, if it becomes uncool to be homophobic. The campaign slogan itself was devised by school pupils here in the UK. It's short, it's snappy, and it says everything that it needs to. Some people are gay. Get over it. Let's try and help spread the message.